You're not the only accounting firm. You're not only the plumbing firm. You're not only the HVAC as well. So how do you get noticed first? It's marketing and branding and attention and credibility, but it's not whether you like it or not. The world is crowded.
I bought 58 companies. I rebranded every one of them. I want to give the listeners out there a secret hack and a secret that if you understand this, you'll avoid a lot of problems. Turn it around.
Can Adam turn around the hat? Oh my God. We are episode number 9, wearing the same clothes as episode number 8 because we bang them over. And Adam
I turned my hat around though. Yeah. I gotta look cool. I'm gonna be a cool 60-year-old
You don't look
dude.
60. You don't look 60. By the way, welcome to the show. Can you make 9 figures doing this? And yes, we do it. Did it yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You could do it with your own company or go look for companies or just learn one day as well. And it's not when you're ready, because when you're ready, there's usually a 2-year process. So plant those seeds now. We have done, this is our 9th episode, which you can go on the past episodes and listen to all of them. And you can start with this one, but go back, phenomenal show. Or you can go to JT Fox on my podcast and see all the episode combined, episode 1 to 5, and then 6 to 10. So I like to so that you have one shot of great information. And we talked about the last week. We talked about when you take over a company, what do you do from day one? The integration. The episode before, we talked about us accounting and bookkeeping roll up. We're doing it. Also, too, we have a trade school we're working on. I got to tell you about that. There's so many things I have to tell you, but today we're going to talk about branding. And it's something that people think branding is a polo and a logo, and it really isn't. First of all, Adam, so welcome. You took
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. You relaunched your second book again. Why did you do that, by the way? And you went with the
I'm starting. Well, I've been in JT rooms, and JT's been teaching me about branding, and so time to start putting an ugly mug, with the books, that are up there for sure.
So I feel when we look at companies and when we've acquired companies and when you've acquired companies, there's a lack of branding. And what do we mean by a lack of branding is that these are people who have never invested. They think branding is like t-shirts and polos and logos, right? And branding is credibility and attention. Notice me first, right? And many of these companies we deal with, first of all, have never figured out marketing. They've got to $500,000 a year profit EBITDA, which is good, right? Because if you're in $422,000 a year, you're top 1%. But they get at a scaling stuck because they base their business on referrals. And if you get a lot of referrals, it really means you're good at what you do, but you don't have a sustainable, predictable, consistent. You don't have this notion of spend one marketing dollar and get 5, or they do marketing, but they're not tracking it. They don't have the systems to track it. They don't know the cost per lead, the cost per acquisition, the lifetime value, the first sale, the next sale, the upsell, the cross sell. They don't have any of this though, because what they did, it's a big mistake that people do, is they whatever company, call it accounting, bookkeeping, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, you go into a marketing company. And Adam, this is what they do, right? They go to a marketing company and they say, hey, I need you to come up with the marketing. And so what happens is the person over promises and then under delivers.
Yeah.
When it doesn't work, they blame the offer, they blame this. And I think the mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make, and if they had just followed that, one, they can scale. And for those of you who want to get to the 4 million in EBITDA for a $32 million to $36 million exit, or 10 million to get a 9-figure exit, and yes, you can't do that, is that your job, and this is what I do in all my companies, I have over 70 company brands, my job is to come up with all the ideas. And then the job of whoever I hire to do the marketing, whether it's outsource or insource, is to implement the ideas. I mean, think about this. You're expecting a company to make you millions of dollars, but they're not millionaires themselves. They don't understand what a plumbing company, what are they looking for? What's the pain point? Or an accounting company, right? Like as a consumer, I've always put my shoes into the person that is, what are they thinking when they come into my business? Like, what is their fears? And let's talk about the accounting world, right? Adam, most people are already working with accountants. And if they're not working on their accountant, is either A, they were too cheap, they wanted to do it themselves and probably messed it up or realized, why am I doing all this? Is that a customer you want? Maybe, but it's probably not a high-paying customer. Then you have the other customer who is not happy with their accountant, but because they've been with them for a very, very long time, right? They're afraid of changing, right? I like you. I know you could do better, but I'm afraid of changing. And third is the person is dissatisfied and looking for somebody else. But again, it's hard because they're jaded from the thing they have. And most people are actually quite not happy with their services because it's not what you know, it's what you don't know. So now they come into a situation is this, and now you have to do marketing, right? A pain point marketing and build a marketing. So marketing is the engine and branding is the fuel. So the branding is what gives credibility and branding is attention and credibility. Why me? And you have to the branding and the marketing are based on two things. What problem are you solving to get them in, right? So those are three problems in the accounting world. In the plumbing world, people just want somebody that when it breaks down to come there fast, professional, and not do the, hey, we'll get there 9 to 5, right? And so there are companies now that are really like, like almost like Uber, you can track your driver, your
Yeah.
company, right? I mean, they're creating, and by the way, do people care about that? Maybe not, but as a marketing strategy, right? A branding strategy, say, hey, listen, with us, you could follow and track the driver there as well, so that they can use that as a unique selling proposition. But it may not matter, but it got them in. So what do you think about all that, Adam? The mistake that you see?
Yeah, so let me just start with a couple of statements. Number one, I bought 58 companies. I built 3 big companies, platforms by rolling companies together and putting them together. I rebranded every one of them, but I want to give the listeners out there a secret hack and a secret that if you understand this, you'll avoid a lot of problems. So first of all, JT is the absolute master on the planet at branding, at creating brand, at strategy. And a lot of guys that are in trucks driving around or accountants, it's like they're good at what they do, but they're not JT Fox. They don't know how the hell to brand. So it's like you can learn from other people how to do things well. But I want to let you in on a little secret. When you're buying companies, entrepreneurs or founders who are selling their business, they really care about the name of their company. It's like, I'm Sam's Plumbing and Sam's my daddy. And if they ask you, what's going to happen to my brand? Are you going to change the name? And no matter how much gold you offer them, this can actually be a huge deal killer. So you have to have a strategy if you're out buying companies on how you're going to handle this issue, because it will come up. And if you say, no, I'm changing it. Well, I ain't selling you my company because that's daddy's name. It's like, and so this is an objection that you will face and have to overcome. And I tell you, probably 99% of the time, people give a damn about what the name of the company is, and they care about the disposition and what you're going to do. So I always diffuse that by explaining to them what an endorser brand strategy is. So, hey, you're Sam's Plumbing. Well, I'm so-and-so Home Services. And so what we're going to do is we're going to keep Sam's Plumbing on the trucks, on the marquee, and I'm going to add this endorser brand next to it. It's going to be Sam's Plumbing, a so-and-so Home Services company. And so as I buy companies around the country, all of the brands are still there. So any brand equity that is built into these companies locally or with consumers, it'll survive for a while, but I'm going to start associating my new national brand underneath theirs. And then over about a 10-year period, I'm going to flip the names, but I don't want to
You don't want to do it from day one. So the mistake that people is like, and when you acquire, because sometimes people, they're like, they love to see their own name, right? So there's that fear, unless the name doesn't have the greatest reputation. You go to a restaurant, you're like, under new management, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're a B2C business, then so you're doing business with consumers, then your brand can have some value in a local marketplace for sure, especially if you've been in business for a long time and now you're being sold. And so as a buyer, we need to be cognizant that there is some brand equity, but you're not Coke. And I'll tell you the story of, a company I ran, that had been in business for 70 years, and it was a laundry company, JT, but it was called Web Service Company. And this is in the era of the internet when I'm, taking this thing over and fixing it and buying stuff and building it and selling it, multiple times. And the family is like, William E. Bloomfield was daddy's name. William E. Bloomfield, WEB, Web Service Company. And they owned it since 1947. And so they felt like they were there before the internet. And so Web Service Company means laundry company. And it was so confusing to the marketplace. They refused to let me change the name. I wanted to change it so bad, they refused. Literally the day after the company was sold from the family to the first private equity firm that I brought in, I changed the name, literally. We rebranded it and we became Wash Multifamily Laundry. And they had me so freaked out that I had an entire call center full of people with scripts because they were convinced the day we changed the name, 6 million consumers out there were going to stop going to their laundromats and doing laundry. And they were so freaked out about it, they got me freaked out about it. And guess how many consumers called pissed off because Web Service Company became Wash Multifamily Laundry? Zero. Nobody gave a damn.
Would it be different though in a plumbing company that maybe has established, or an accounting company?
It can be. It can be. We have to be cognizant. There may be some brand equity that's built up, but still, that doesn't mean that we can't refresh the brand. What we don't want to do though is raise the objection and tell the guy, look, I created this new company. It's called this, and I'm changing the name the day after we close. That's enough of an objection for that person, because they're so attached to their own brand that they will tell you no. But if you give them time and you talk about the endorser brand strategy, which, by the way, I think is the right strategy because I preserve the local brand equity. And then later on down the road, as people get used to both names, I can make the switch. But here's what usually happened to me. So I'll buy 4 or 5 companies. They concerned about the name. So I tell them, endorser brand, your name's going to survive. And then after I bought 4 or 5 companies in an area, the founders come to me and say, you know what, Adam, this ain't working. It's like, let's just go to the new name. And they lead the brand name change. I don't even have to do it. I didn't have to wait 10 years. It's like they came to me and said, our trucks are crisscrossing and we're all working together, but we're wearing different uniforms and we're going, we're going to a parts house. There's 3 trucks out there. We all work for the same company and there's 3 different names on it. We're confusing the marketplace now. And so we want to change that and go to the unified brand. So, I would tell you that branding can become a problem for you when you're trying to acquire a company. Don't let it become a problem. Use the right strategy, which is an endorser brand. And then if you're struggling with identity, get some help. There's guys like JT out there who are just brilliant experts, in branding that can help you figure out what is that right name. So you want to preserve the brand equity and the consumer recognition, but you do want to have a brand that makes sense with a strategy that makes sense, because as we're doing a buy and build and building a bigger company, we don't want to take a problem and make it bigger. We want to have a solution that we can build and grow into that's going to solve this on a global scale.
The irony is that obviously I'm pretty big on celebrity branding, and people always say, what does that have to do with accounting and plumbing or HVAC or electrical? And I said, well, take a look at every Super Bowl ad. What do they have in common? The majority have a celebrity.
Yeah.
And it's not about you becoming a celebrity, it's opening the door. And so, like, as an accounting firm, you can reach out to anybody and say, hi, so-and-so, for example. I just had a meeting with Michael Dell from Dell Computers, worth $96 billion. We'd like to see if we can meet you. Or they're like, wow, look, my accounting firm, look who they hang around with, look who they're around. And if that was the case, you wouldn't have it's funny because let's talk about brand. Why would Delta, pay Tom Brady $5 million a year, right? To be their strategic advisor, right? Why? So why do you think, by the way, do you think Tom Brady flies Delta?
Delta private jets, which is now Wheels Up maybe, but not Delta commercial.
But why would they do that?
Yeah, they do that because there's a value in the association with the celebrity. Imagine you're talking about a plumbing company. Imagine a big plumbing company having Michael Rowe, Dirty Jobs guy, as the spokesman.
Or even locally, like let's say in Dallas where you are, I'm friends with Michael Irvin, three-time Super Bowl champion. You know what? The champion, Dallas is champion of plumbing companies, and you have Michael Irvin. It's like there's two plumbing companies. People, listen, the other
Like
one,
my neighbor, Patrick Mahomes lives here, and so when, if I was a plumber and Patrick Mahomes called me to go to his house, I'd be like, dude, let's just do a selfie together. I'm not even going to charge you for fixing, your
first of all, he was
toilet
at your club and you didn't get a picture with him. Tell people the truth. You had his security and you didn't go
can't
in.
take pictures in my club. Unwritten law, unfortunately, so,
There's
but
no cell phone too.
yeah, we're weird,
Yeah,
you can come wearing a thong and flip flops
at my country club, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, but you can do whatever you want at my club. The only thing is they want you to wear a collared shirt.
But imagine if you're a local plumbing company and you've got your little selfie of you with Patrick Mahomes. When Patrick Mahomes needs a plumber, he calls me,
Yep.
and then everyone says, well, hell, if that's a good enough for Pat, it's good enough for me, and so.
But here's the interesting too with Delta. It's not only that, okay, you have Tom Brady involved, right? But when Delta has suppliers, when they are looking for advertisers for some of their assets in their planes or things like that, or they want to motivate the employees or recruit them, they rent out, the Atlanta Hawks arena, State Farm Arena, and the CEO, I think it's Ed Bass, something like that. They come in and then they bring Tom Brady, and so who doesn't want to meet Tom Brady? Right.
Yeah.
So it's almost a hook because, hey, listen, are you a potential think about advertising with us? Hey, come to this special thing, come meet Tom Brady. It doesn't matter. Like I wanted to do business with somebody, right? And so I had the opportunity to meet Lionel Messi in Paris, right? And so what did I do? I called a very high nine-figure guy, say, hey, how would you like to come meet Lionel Messi with me? He's like, done. I'll fly. You know what I mean? And so we flew together and now we do business together. And so and here's like, you may not care about celebrity. That's why we have an event called Mega Success. You'll be there. I basically get the biggest Hollywood people in the world, the biggest billionaires. And then I call people like one of the guy coming is the plumbing guy, my friend now, Charlie Mullins. If you guys go to JT Fox, it's episode 110 on my podcast and on here, just type in JT Fox, Charlie Mullins sold his plumbing company for 147 million pounds. Maybe we bring him on the next show. Maybe that's what we do. We're going to bring him on the next show so that you can ask him questions. But 147 million pounds, sold his company, wasn't making money for 15 years, got by KKR, right? 2-year non-compete. It's about to expire. Now he's starting it again, new, which is actually plumbing electrical called We Fix It. And he goes, so many people are unhappy. They ruin the culture, right? And we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll have him, like we'll get him on the show. We will talk about that on the next one. Me, Adam, and Charlie. He looks like Rod Stewart. He's like 70 years old. The guy is, by the way, like he says, it's marketing and branding and attention and credibility. And at the end of the day, you may not like this stuff. And it's not whether you like it or not. The world is crowded. You're not the only accounting firm. You're not only the plumbing firm. You're not only the HVAC as well. So how do you get noticed first? Rather than, had I known about your company first,
and you know what, JT? The world's changed, right? So it used to be in the era of the phone book. I want to be the first guy. So AAA
plumbing.
Yeah. And it's like, but the world doesn't use phone books anymore. They go online. And so how do you attract the attention of people? And that's where your celebrity, endorsed brands, actually makes a difference.
And that's the cool part about this as well. So on the next show, we're going to try to get Charlie Mullins, which I'm sure we can. But I need a favor to all of you. I need you, if you want this to happen, I need you to subscribe on YouTube to our channel, JT Fox, and Can You Make Nine Figure doing this. And also, if you on Spotify, we have blocks where you can listen to the whole episode 1 to 5, and then eventually 5 to 10. We put in 5 blocks, so you can go one shot with us as well. And if you want to do this with us, or you want us to acquire your company or do a roll up with your company, or you want to learn how to do it, go to adamcoffee.com. And we don't know what can happen, but we know that if you're listening to this, yes, we want you entertained, but we'd rather do it with you. And maybe that's the next reality show. You talked about your Apple thing where they follow us around actually doing that as well. So adamcoffee.com, put a like and comment on there. What do you think about this? Thank you so much, Adam. And we promise on the next episode, we will address differently than we are here today. I believe it's episode 10 next one. So we will do Dress Differently. We promise you. And hey, who else to have Charlie Mullins on episode number 10 about how he did that. And I don't know, it's good. It's a fun time. So you are 1 minute late for a meeting. I'm 1 minute for a meeting. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on the next show. Thanks for listening.
Take care, everybody.